Hello, dears. Good afternoon. I hope you are ready for the session. To introduce myself, I am Amala Vijay Thompson, and I will be dealing with Indian agriculture, that is particularly in economics or GS3. Okay, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this topic or have you taken a look at this. Okay, anyways, we will be today seeing an overview of this topic. Okay. Okay, so to begin with, first of all, let's try to understand the importance of agriculture as a portion in our exam. Okay, so I would say actually our civilization, the base of our civilization started from agriculture as such. If you like look back to our ancient past, we can say it is from settled agriculture practices civilization as such came, right? So from that history point of view, the whole human race has a connection with agriculture. Or if we take particularly India as such, can you just tell me what were the products that ancient India was famous for in case of exports? Can you name some of the products ancient India was famous for all around the world? Barley, yeah. Yes, obviously, you know why Vasco da Gama came here and why he was so much lured to stay back, or why even the imperial power came to here because of vast resources, especially in agriculture field. So, studying Indian agriculture in civil service is not a matter of surprise for any of us because it has that kind of significance from history and presently how our economy is depending upon agriculture, or how a vast majority of Indian people depend upon it for employment as well as for our basic needs. You know that we are depending upon agriculture. Then even our future depends upon how well we get adjusted to the different practices in agriculture to sustain our future generation or to be really sustaining in this world of climate change and so on. Okay, so this Indian agriculture or agriculture as such has such a significance in relation to past, present and future. With this note, let's take a look at syllabi that you have to cover related with Indian agriculture. So, yes, I think you are well familiar with this part of GS3. Then let me tell you, like I would be covering mains part of agriculture in this session onwards, like maybe maximum around 5 sessions we may cover all these parts. We'll try to cover it. And prelims, I know both the batches are mixed, right? Okay, so we may be taking another look at the prelims point of view of agriculture, which is little more fact oriented. Okay, so let's look at mains point of view of Indian agriculture. So, like I would like all of you to go through this portion of syllabi. Please take a look at it. So, it starts from major cropping patterns in various parts of the country and obviously irrigation. So, just connect why we need to study this. You will be taking a look again why we need to study, what is the importance of studying it, or okay, what is the context of studying this. So, if you really want to know Indian agriculture, we have to start from the cropping patterns or the major crops that we are cultivating all over India. And obviously, if we start with crops, we must also know the different inputs towards it and how it is marketed, right, in storage, transport, marketing, okay, and also different challenges and constraints related with it. See, and obviously we also, in this age, we also have to know different technology, especially e-technology that the government has came up with to promote Indian agriculture. And again, I hope you are very familiar with these terms in this syllabi because from prelims, mains, you have seen certain questions related with farm subsidies, minimum support price. I think minimum support price you are mostly learning even from prelims point of view. You have so much facts to learn there. Then public distribution system and how our nation is trying to come up with food security, and for that what are the purposes like related with buffer stocks. Okay, I hope you are reading through it. I'm just reading the key points or key words in this. So all these in a way, for example, finally to add value or for the value addition part, we have to obviously say the food processing industries too. That is why it is also included, which is very much related with Indian agriculture, or it is the allied sector, right? And when you see questions related with land reforms, I don't know whether you have noted that mostly it is asked from the perspective of agriculture or agriculture productivity and how it is contributing, or what are the different problems the farmers face. Obviously, there are different aspects too, from historical aspects, socio-economic aspects, but we also have to take a look at land reforms from this view too. Okay, so I hope all of you have read through this syllabi. Okay. CDS have, like I told you, I just want you to know the importance of this before we learn anything. I think only if we know what is the significance of it, we may feel like learning it. Otherwise, there is no point of learning it. That's how I understand. So, I really want you to know the importance of agriculture from different perspectives. So, basically, this is general points that even while you're structuring your answers for mains, you can think from these perspectives. Because Indian agriculture, why, if we think like why it is important for us, why we have to think about it? Because a majority of people, that is more than 50% of Indian population, or we can say like I'm not being very accurate about the number because it's around 42%, but we can say while comparing to other people or portion of population working in different other sectors, it is obviously the majority who is in this field, that is as farmers. Okay, and while relating to farmers, it is just not those people who own the land. There are also rural poor who work as wage laborers in this agriculture land. Okay, so it is very much related with the social aspect of Indian society, and especially if we look into the national prosperity or our national integrity, food security is one another major fact that we have to think upon. So, agriculture is responsible to provide that kind of security for us. Otherwise, we would be forced to depend upon other nations, right? Then, this is the basic sector that provides to other sectors if other industries has to grow. Can you give me some examples of other industries which is wholly depend upon agriculture sector? So can you give me some raw materials examples for industries? Sugarcane, yeah. Something else? Coconut, yeah, extracts of coconut. Something so much common and very familiar for us, what is that? Paper, something that we are, ahead in exports, yeah. Raw material, what about cotton? Yes, cotton, tea, coffee, spices, all those. I mean, those are especially if you look into cotton, or you mentioned about, you were saying about sugar cane. Okay, those things we can go for value addition. So these are certain industries which are basically dependent upon agriculture sector and its further growth. Okay, and in terms of economy, I have already pointed out how much people are dependent upon it for its employment. So that is why I said in numerical terms, if we take 2019 statistics, so around 42% of people are dependent upon this sector for their employment and income generation. Okay, then yes, if we look for economic growth, obviously we have to understand it in terms of gross domestic product or how it contributes to GDP, right? Though we know if we take from post-independence, the amount of or the number of the percentage of people dependent upon agriculture has come down from around 70 percentage to 42 percentage, but even now that is the major sector people are dependent upon.